All right, not sure if there is a oil life reset on a 2009 Volkswagen Beetle, but I shall check. But we are changing the oil at 117,311 miles, and I will cut her off. Lights off so we don't kill the battery. Put her in gear. Emergency brake already set, and we got a wheel block, a 4x4 piece of wood as a wheel chock out back. And I will pop the hood and yeah, we'll put the window down, why not? Or sorry, the garage door down. Now, it is in theory, it's a joy to work on a car once you've got all the other stuff put back together like I have. So now it should be a simple oil change process. Pop the hood, loosen the oil cap, filler cap, slide my oil catch container underneath, loosen the drain plug, take out the old oil filter. I think it's a canister style where it's a paper element. You just take the housing out, replace that. I have the new one. Where are you at? Here you are. A CarQuest special. There was like 20% off on Advanced Auto Parts online. So that was like $6, real cheap. And like I said in a previous video, 10 quarts of 5W30 from Costco for $39 because I need 6.3 quarts for this oil change. Can't beat that. And I'm hoping straightforward, because so far working on this car has been nothing but straightforward, but let's hope for the best. All right, before we put the gloves on, we'll take a look. This is the part number for a 2.5 Volkswagen. Now on Advanced Auto Parts, you could put in two different selections, two different engine options for the 2.5, which is weird. That one's ended in PBR, one ended in PBS. I selected both and went through both, and this part number was a exact fit for both, so I don't know what the difference is. Maybe auto versus manual, not quite sure. But either way, it's going to be the same for the engine. Oil filter, this is made in Vietnam. This is what it looks like. About, I call it 4 inches long or so. Hollow all the way through. And then here is a new O-ring. And then putting the gloves on soon. I'm going to take off my oil cap. Now on newer cars, it will tell you the type of oil on the oil cap. It doesn't just says Castrol is recommended, but I do know from looking at the owner's manual, this does take 5W30. I'll leave the cap there. I will pull the dipstick, just leave it up a little bit because we'll wipe that off later. And then getting underneath the car, well, before I get underneath the car, the drain plug is going to be a 19mm, but I don't have one, at least not in a wrench. I could use a socket and ratchet, but I just found this 3/4 wrench here. Multiple different tools can complete the same task at hand. So 3/4 and 19mm, just to show you on my chart. This is just a chart I got at the machine shop a while ago. I have another, they had some extras, so I got this one. And 3/4 is 750 thousandths of an inch, which you can see right here, 0.75. 19mm is 748 thousandths of an inch. So you're literally splitting hairs. Well, not quite a hair, it's about 5 thousandths thickness. So we're splitting 2 thousandths difference here, so half the thickness of a piece of hair, so it's fine. So you can use the 3/4 if you don't have a 19mm, and vice versa. Now bringing you under here, we will break the drain plug loose. Let me slide this back. I have it on my homemade car ramps. I found just YouTube make your own car ramps, and this one dude's video, it's super popular, pops up, and if I take that metal loop out, I can actually fold that back half of it out of the way if I need to slide under the car from the behind either front tire. And then you can see my wheel chuck maybe way in the back there, so we are safe. All right, let me slide under here like I said. Oh, crawling underneath the car, no fun. I did ask for a creeper for Christmas, one of those things you see the mechanics sliding underneath the car rolling on wheels, that little flat thing in the movies. This is the oil filter here. I did not get the creeper, so I will ask again, or maybe just buy my own since I'm an adult. Here is the drain plug, and if I didn't lose my wrench already, I will pass the phone to my left hand. I shall put the wrench on, and just looking to break it loose here. Trying to show you guys a little bit of working on cars, not just what I'm gonna do and then the completed job. Okay, so slide the light back on my drain pan a little closer so we can catch it. And get some good lighting. There we go. It may have a gasket on it. Oh, you know what? These threads are going to be a little off, a little tight, a little messed up. I can feel it. Because if I can't spin it by hand already, yeah. Good thing we're in a steel oil pan, but I'm worried about these threads in the oil pan now. Always something working on cars. It is. Yeah. Dang, that sucks. I hope I don't need a new oil pan. So whoever on all the oil changes prior, or some of them, they must have been over tightening this bolt. Or the threads must have been dirty when putting the drain plug back in. Okay, well, let me get two hands on this. Let me put my gloves on and mess with that. But always something to be looking out for when taking out the oil plug. When doing an oil change. Alright, so it was very tight having to work it quarter, eighth turn with the wrench at a time, but we're finally just about there. So I'm gonna just take it off as quickly as possible to make as little of a mess. Just drain fast, like on any oil change. So get it out, and there we go, just like that. Take it out nice and quick. The plug, I'm wondering if it's the threads on the drain plug that are a little worn out, or if it's the ones on the oil pan, or if one or the other, the threads are kind of gummed up or, you know, messed up, which is not allowing the last part of the threads closer to the bolt head from going in nice and easy by hand. I have to really, they feel real tight, which should not be the case. I should be able to thread this all the way in by hand, all the way up to this gasket here. And this gasket, by the way, appears to be a plastic, some sort of gasket. Of course, AutoZone oil filter did not come with a new one. Maybe if I'd go to the VW dealership, they might give me a new gasket with a new oil filter from Volkswagen. So that's an option. Didn't do that today, but we should be fine to reuse the gasket. I'll just monitor the oil after when we start driving, make sure there's no leaks from here. Speaking of leaks, all the old leaks, I'm gonna take this time while I'm under here to clean up as much as I can, because it's just sludgy all over the place. Now you can take it to a car wash and ask them to pressure wash the bottom of your car, and that should take care of a lot of this. But I'm gonna see what I can do first myself. And it's not gonna show up. Let me set down this drain plug down. It's not gonna show up on video, I don't think, but in between this line and the starter right here, way up in there, I don't think it'll focus, but I do see from installing my vacuum pump with new gaskets, there's a slight leak, not from the gaskets, but from the fitting that receives the brake booster vacuum line. I think that is the source of my leak, but I did take care of the major leak from it. Now I just have a minor leak, it appears to be, from it. And unfortunately the camera is unable to focus because it is way up in there. But I was able to verify that from the bottom here. So moving forward, I will monitor that. If that's a very slow leak, I think I'm gonna let it go. If it turns into a worse issue, then I will have to see if that little green O-ring from the previous video or two is actually for that black captured plastic fitting, or so I thought. Okay, this is the drain plug up close and focused in the light. This appears to be a copper washer, so that should be reusable. And then right where this finger is, if you see right in front of it, there's a strand of metal sticking out. That appears to be part of the drain bolt plug, whatever you want to call it, right here, and it appears to be a part of it. So I think one of the threads has started to kind of fold over towards the top. This thread on the very closest to the copper washer, that last thread where the very front of my index finger glove is, like right below that thread right there appears to be folded over. So I don't know if it got caught in the recesses of the thread. The threads have just been trapped in there, but I'm going to try to, there's one other metal shaving from the bolt kind of sticking out. Okay, that's too close. So there's one, yeah, one right here as well. So that is not going to be a good time. I could find the thread pitch for this in size and run a die down this, but it's a 3/4 or 19mm bolt head. Then that could be, thinking 13, 14, or 15, maybe more like 15mm. So I don't know if we'll be able to find that die easily. So that's where we're at. I might just try to clean it up as best I can and put it back in, and hopefully we don't strip out the oil pan, but that definitely is a concern here.
Okay, so supposedly I just take a Phillips and push this in. Well, let me make sure my drain pan is underneath, and this should make less of a mess as opposed to taking off the entire oil filter housing all at once. Now I do run the risk of this not sealing properly when I pull it back out, but let's just give it a shot. There we go. Okay, so you want to push that piece in and then off to the side. Get a nice little drain. Of course it's going to drain right directly onto a hose. Engineering at its finest. But I mean, look, I'm no engineer, so they're smarter than me, so let's just let it ride. So once this finishes draining mostly, then I will pull that piece back out, and I guess when you pull it back out, it should reseal itself. But, you know, in the real world, high mileage, doing this multiple times, it could leak. We'll just have to see. And then I will take I loosen the cap with a pair, where are my tools? I gotta have my tools.
With just a regular pair of channel locks, but I will use the oil filter pliers
to actually grab the outside of the housing, but I'll be careful because it is plastic. I don't want to really scuff it up. It's got a few scratch marks on it, but should be pretty straightforward. And then I will, once I get that, you know, put back together, then I'll start cleaning off all the debris on the transmission case and everything, all the oil and sludge. I don't want to risk getting that into the oil filter housing or into the drain plug hole. So I still have the bolt off. I figure I'm going to take it to my shop, and I will just I'll clean up the threads. I can grab the hex on the lathe, and I can take my triangular file while it's spinning on the lathe at low RPM and clean the threads out, compressed air, brake clean, all that. All right. Okay, so we got the oil filter housing out, wiped down the outside because it was covered in grease and grime and oil. And I already put the new O-ring in. The old one has just like the new one, has a little tab sticking up, so you can grab that with a needle nose and pull it out. And the new one is sitting down in there with the tab right over here. I don't think the tab has to really go anywhere. It's not like it goes into a slot or anything. So just make sure the tab is pointing up so that at the next oil change you can take it out real easily. This is the old oil filter. Looks like they got a Napa one, Napa Gold, made in China. Who would have thought? This one's made in Vietnam, so maybe it's a little bit better. My coworker's from Vietnam and says good things about it. And lots of good food over there, and he said hardworking people, so I was like, wow, that seems like a good society going on over there. And not getting into the politics of the government because I don't know enough, and I can't speak on what I don't know. So we're going to try out this Vietnamese oil filter and put it in the German car that was sold in America. Now, if that's not a global economy, I don't know what is. But off the tangent, off the soapbox, let's get this guy up in there. And then we'll screw on our little cap that covers this quick drain plug area and keep it rolling. And as a side note, all of this you see on the ground is oily sludge I've been scraping off of the engine and transmission casings. And so there's still like way more caked on. Not just the bottom, but going up the front side of both engine, transmission, starter, wiring, hoses, everything. So, you know, I guess the ugly truth of, you know, when your cars get older, they will, when they leak, And when they have long-term oil leaks, it's just going to look like this. So, you know, if you think your car, I mean, hopefully your interior is still good after long-term and you keep up on it, but if you don't keep up on your maintenance, then your car is going to be real dirty, leaking oil all over the place. And yeah, just something to keep in mind. So just keep up on your maintenance. Take care of your car, and your car will take care of you, is generally how it goes. At least that's the saying. It's not always the case, but most of the time, it's true.
So I actually got a new drain plug with a new crush washer from Volkswagen, $6. So let's put that in. Okay, so before I filled the car with 6.3 quarts of full synthetic 5W30, I got out the owner's manual. I went to page 194. That's what the front of it looks like for a 2009 Beetle. And I went to the section about engine oil specs. And the gasoline engine oil standard is VW50200. So if I had something similar, if viscosity grade SAE 5W-40 is not available, you can use SAE 5W-30. And we have here from Costco, I'll show you the fronts. This is the Kirkland full synthetic SAE 5W30. And on the back, it meets the for use in gasoline, flex fuel, gasoline electric hybrid vehicles requiring SAE 5W30. And we don't really know much about these: API, SP, SN+, SM, and ILSAC GF-6A or previous standards. So this oil nowadays, and I'll flash a screenshot on the screen here showing that this website verifies that VW50200, you can swap that out for SAE 5W30 as long as it's full synthetic. So we're good to go. And I will be running this oil and we shall see how it does. And I don't know what the intervals were on any previous oil change on this car. This car is at 117,000 miles, but I will be doing my standard, what I always do, changing the oil every 5,000 miles. And we will see how that does. All right, thanks for watching. That is the oil change video on the 2009 Volkswagen Beetle.